Hey everyone, Tina Hogan Grant here with my Cuppa A Natter that I like to do on a Monday. I do twice a week on a Monday. I invite authors into my home. We talk about books, writing, and life as an author, and anything else that comes to mind. And tonight I have the award-winning author Rebecca Rosenberg joining me. How are you this evening, my dear?
I'm great. We're all staying warm, I hope, because it is chilly.
It is cold, and we are actually getting snow a couple of days before Christmas.
Oh,
We'll
wow.
see.
Well,
We'll see
that
how
would
that
be
goes
fun.
because we're supposed to go, as we say, off the hill to go see my son. He's 2 hours away, and where he is, there's no snow.
Mm.
I love the white Christmases and all that stuff. But they just built their new home, so it's their first year in their home.
Where
And
are they,
it's
Tina?
Christmas they're in Downey, about 2 hours away from me. I'm in a small mountain community in California,
Yeah,
but they don't get snow there. So I'm hoping that we don't get too much, so we don't get snowed in. So
yeah.
that was just
I
feeling.
hope not too.
Oh, anyways, but I am thrilled to have you back. You have been on my show before,
Yes, I have.
and we talked about gold diggers. Now we're going to be talking about your latest book, Silver Echoes.
Yeah, and I loved seeing a lot of you at the party that we all had on Saturday. And we had so much fun really delving into the parts of your personality. So we'll get into that, Tina.
We
Yeah.
will. Um, before we get to, you did hold up the cover. Before we get started into the details of the book, can you just give a little background to yourself? Anything you feel comfortable sharing with the internet for readers that don't know you, and also how you got into writing these fascinating books.
Sure. So I live up in Sonoma, California, north of where Tina is. And we don't have snow here. But we have so much fog right now. We can't get out of the fog. It's just amazing. It's like I live in a cloud. Um, and I live on a lavender farm.
I
And
know.
so we started a lavender farm way back when, like think it's been 25 years ago now. And we founded this company called Sonoma Lavender. And I wrote a book on lavender, which is on Amazon. And that's how I got to writing books. And that was about 10 years ago. I did that first lavender book. And I just found that I loved it. And I had a lot of stories about women who that hadn't ever been told. So real stories about women and they haven't been told. And the first one I wrote was about Gold Digger, and this is Baby Doe Tabor. And I just had to learn how to write books. So I started going to all the workshops and all the classes and all of that. And then I took a course at Stanford University for 2 years about writing novels. And that's when I was able to really get these down, understand how to do it. And I haven't looked back since. This is my Silver Echoes is my sixth novel. And I have another one coming out early in 2026. So I want you to sign up for my newsletter, which I do every month. And the address is right there on my name. So rebecca-rosenberg.com. I'm going to do lots of fun things around the new book. So this is Silver Echoes.
I love the cover. The cover, they just pop. Now, do you have any say in these covers, or do
I
they?
do the covers
Oh,
myself
you do them
with
yourself?
a designer. And this one is, you can see that she is a tiger tamer in the 20s. And you can see that her mother's ghost is
Okay.
on one side and her alter ego is on the other side. And she may have horns growing out of her
I can
head.
believe it. I am reading this book right now, and I'm absolutely loving it. I was trying to finish it before the show, but my reading time, as you know, as a writer,
Yeah,
is
it's hard.
limited. It is really hard. But I have to say, the first chapter draws you right in. It draws you right in. So I'm excited about the book, and I will be, of course, leaving a review, but I have to tell the readers, it's phenomenal. I am absolutely enjoying it. So,
Thank you so much. Well, this is, I mentioned Gold Digger. So this is the actual Baby Doe Tabor on the cover there. And she is the mother of this gal whose name is Silver Dollar Tabor. And these are two women who actually lived in Colorado who both have fascinating stories and totally different stories.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to read these books together. But usually if you start with Silver Echoes, you want to come back and understand Baby Doe Tabor a little bit more. But they're both unbelievably fascinating women.
Yeah, I have not read the first one, and I am going to be reading the first one because I do want to know more about Baby Doe. And I kind of got a glimpse of the story in our last chat because that is the book that we talked about. So I do remember the first of the book, but I definitely want to read it.
Tina, did we talk about Gold Digger, or did we talk about Champagne Widows? Did we talk about Champagne?
I think we talked.
Oh, okay. I think this is our third talk, maybe.
I lose track.
Maybe 3 or 4.
I remember Champagne Widows too. I'm not sure if both books were out at the same time. It's been over a year since we chatted, I think.
Yeah, probably.
It goes by so quick.
But I also write books about the widows who invented champagne and revolutionized champagne from France. And so that's the next book that I have coming out is the next Champagne Widows book.
Now, Champagne's Widows is not connected to these two. That's
no.
They're
2 different series.
And what made you decide to write about women from the 20s, World War I?
Well, this book I had to write after I had researched about Baby Doe Tabor because I read all of Baby Doe Tabor's diaries. And she kept talking about how worried she was about her daughter, Silver, who was in Chicago. And she knew that Silver was in trouble. And think about back there in the 20s, we didn't have the internet. The mail was not very good. And so these two wrote letters back and forth for the entire 10 years that Silver Dollar was in Chicago. And she knew Silver Dollar was an entertainer because she had always been an entertainer since she was a little girl. She was super, super talented woman for real. She wrote books. I have her books. She wrote plays. She wrote songs. She actually sang her song for President Roosevelt.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. She was in plays. She was really quite talented, but something traumatic happens. And probably, Tina, you've already read this. Something very traumatic happens to her in Denver, Colorado. And I can't give that away because it's a big deal. But she has to run from Colorado. She could never, ever go back. And Baby Doe knows this, and she's always worried about her. So then I said, hey, I need to find out more about what happened to her and why she disappeared. So you'll find out very shortly in the book. In fact, this says, what really happened to Rosemary Echo Silver Dollar Tabor? That's her whole name. Something horrific happened to her, and her mother knew. And she couldn't do anything about it because she couldn't afford to go there to Chicago and find out. So now we find out what happened to her.
I'm intrigued. I'm totally intrigued. I wish I had all day to finish the book. I wish I did. But I've been taking a lot of baths because that's the only way I can read a book. That's why it's quiet in my house.
Oh, I read in the bath too.
That's the only place I read because I have this jumping jack dog. I have a husband that's like, what are you reading? Every 5 minutes he has to ask me. So the only place is in the bathtub. And Gordon's like, you taking a bath again? I says, yeah, I want to read another chapter. I'll be in the bathtub for a while. So yeah, if I'm reading a good book, I'm very clean because I take a lot of baths.
I read in bed before my husband wakes up too.
Oh, really? I can't do that because Gordon goes to bed early. We're on a different time. I'm up till 1 o'clock. He gets up at 4 a.m. So he has to go to bed like at 9. So yeah, I'd love to read in bed, but I can't. Yeah. I won't. Yeah. Anyways, but back to the books. We had talked about before the show, and I want to bring some of these subjects up because the 1920s was just a fascinating era. There was so much going on. And what I love about historical fiction is I told you I walk away feeling smarter. Mm-hmm. Now, you know the 20s like the back of your hand, it seems like. You research these books, your research must be fascinating, the things you find out. But some of the things that we brought up, and I want you to enlighten not just me, but the readers, of the things that were going on. Like, for example, we talked about the tiger taming, the gangsters.
Let me explain that a little bit. So Silver Dollar, I told you, was running from Denver. And the one thing she knew how to do was to perform. So she got involved with vaudeville and with burlesque, and she would have to come up with her own costumes and her own acts. And she would be traveling all over the Midwest with the Orpheum Theater. So she did that for a while, but it was exhausting. And because she was running from someone and she was very afraid of him, she changed her name to Echo Lavode. And that's why the book is called Silver Echoes. And I will give away a little bit of it that you'll get in the beginning of the book. And I want to invite you, by the way, to go on Amazon. And if you read the free sample, if you've ever done that, you get 10% of the book. So you can really see, 10% of any of those books that you read the sample. So you can really tell if you're going to like it or not. So she names herself Echo Lavode as her show name because that turns out that was her secret friend growing up. And she lived in the mountains just like Tina does, but way up in Leadville, if you've ever been there. And I know Bambi is a member here, and I got to meet Bambi this summer. It was like a highlight of my year, truly. She
That's
came
awesome.
it was so awesome. She came to my reading there. And that place, Leadville, is 2 miles high in altitude, if you can imagine that. 2 miles high.
We're a mile high.
You're a mile high. So imagine twice that.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't breathe and your eyes hurt. And she was a little girl living in a one-room cabin with her mother. And she was extremely traumatized by that. And so she goes off, and she's this dance hall girl, or not dance hall, but a vaudeville girl, and sometimes burlesque. And she's afraid for her life. And she ends up in trouble in lots of ways, you'll see. And she goes to her sister who had run off earlier and tries to get help. And the sister is no help. So we're starting to talk about the things in the 20s that you learn in this book. It's so cool. Like that was when Prohibition came about.
Mm-hmm.
And so they weren't supposed to have any drinking. And yet it seemed to amplify the amount of drinking that was going on. They had those secret speakeasies where you have to give a signal to get in.
Right.
And then, and then once you got in there, they had all the alcohol in the world there and making all these cocktails and like the bee's knees, all these really cute cocktail names. And so she started getting really run down because she was traveling all these places. And she said, I want to get in the motion picture business. And so that's something you learn too, is that before Hollywood, that the biggest movie studio there was in the entire country was in Chicago. And she had a friend who worked there. So she went there and she gets a job that gets her as a tiger tamer. Actually, she starts out as a tiger wrangler, just taking care of the tigers, and they scare her to death, but she needs a job.
Right.
And so she learns to handle these tigers. And as she learns, then she develops this tiger taming act. So when so you find out all about motion pictures being made in this Chicago studio, and they actually had a whole zoo there because they were making all these serial films about all over the world. So it was really cool to learn about that. So there is a lot to learn. And then the studio goes bankrupt and she has to go back out and do these acts. Well, now she has tigers. And so now she becomes a tiger tamer, but she's working for the gangsters that own all the speakeasies and who are really rough and killing people and coercing people and treating women not so good. And so she learns the rough side of the business there. So it's fun.
It's
All that is.
your research must be fascinating. The things that you discover about this era. How long do you spend researching? Like this book, for example, Silver Echoes. How much research? How much time did you spend researching?
You read, I read, I just did a giveaway on my newsletter, which I do every year. So you got to sign up for my newsletter. So I get all these books, I buy all these books and find out all this stuff. I would say I buy 20 books just learning about everything. And it's very fascinating and very fun. And if I'm not, you must know this, Tina, if you don't like what you're writing about, you might as well forget it, right?
Yeah, just walk away. You
Yeah,
gotta write what you love.
You have to, because it takes a long time and a lot of effort.
It does. And I also feel that you need to get something out of it.
Well, that's it. Yeah.
It's
fun. It has to be fun. So here I was learning about, and honestly, when I wrote this book, I knew nothing about the 20s, only just that idea of the roaring 20s, but I didn't understand why it was so dynamic. So one of the things I wanted to tell you is this was called the Great Migration. So a lot of the Black people from the South were coming up to the North because they could have more freedom in the North. And in Chicago, they were opening jazz clubs, and they called them Black and Brown clubs. And that's because the Black people and the brown people and the white people could be together and enjoy the jazz music and actually dance together. Well, that was
back then.
That was unheard of at that time. And so Silver Dollar was actually working in those as well. So remember, I told you she had named herself Echo Lavode. Well, what the book really gets into is that Echo Lavode started taking over her personality.
Yeah.
And Tina, did you ever see any of the movies or read any of the books about what they used to call split personalities or multiple personalities?
No, but I've read a few books that have characters with the split personalities, but the movies, no, I have not.
Okay, well, All About Eve and Sybil, and those are the two that come to mind, but there are others as well. And I discovered, I used to be fascinated by that idea. But then when I started reading the letters that Silver Dollar was sending her mother, the weirdest thing, she was telling her mother to send the answer back to a different person each time. And she lived in a different place. And she would tell her mother that sometimes she'd say she was a hat check girl at a club. And sometimes she'd say she's selling coats at, Marshall Fields there in Chicago. And then she'd say that she was opening a flower shop, and she would tell her mother to send her letters back to a different name each time. So I realized that no one had ever said that something was not working with her, but something was definitely wrong. And I could tell from the letters that she was sending them from all different locations in Chicago. So that was cool, because I could see that she lived in the Black area sometimes, and then she'd be in a high rise there in Chicago. So she was moving around with different names. So I started researching that. We talked about research. This is just one book that
That's for one book.
Yeah. This is called, this is what she had. It's Coping with Trauma-Related Disassociation.
Okay.
So that means that all of us have different personalities that are usually seem like one personality. But if you think about it, you really have a lot of personalities, and that you use them in different times.
Yeah, you certainly.
Tell me about yours, Tina. What are your personalities?
Oh my goodness, where do I start? I have so many. As I was saying before we went live, is that a lot of times we use our personalities to benefit us. If I want to benefit from something, I'll be nicer. I'll be nicer. Yeah, it all depends on, the mood of what I'm in. I think our moods also pay tribute to our personalities, and the mean side of us is going to come out when we're angry. We don't show that when we're friendly, when we want to have something, when we're being nice. And also and this is where I can connect, is addiction. Not that I was an addict, but I went through a period of my life where I was dictated by an addict. And you saw many, many personalities through the addiction when, when when he had his feed, or whatever you want to call it, when he was going through withdrawals. The whole personality spectrum was right there in front of me. So yeah, I agree. We have many, many personalities.
Yeah, in fact, I discovered that there is a whole type of therapy that deals with disassociation in everybody. And realizing where you're, like, if you're talking about a problem that you're having, say with a child or a relationship, there are different parts of you that will respond. Like, part of you feels sorry for them, part of you feels sorry for you, part of you is pissed off about this problem, and so those are all aspects of yourself. And in this situation, Silver Dollar had so much trauma in her life that those parts started taking over. And sometimes those parts become a separate person and they don't even know what each other is doing. And somehow I feel like addiction might be a little bit like that, where
it is.
Yeah, that they're just using the drug.
It's funny. I don't want to go off subject too much, but we talk about, my experience with the person that was an addict. He had a different look. You could tell right away when he was content because he was high. He had his drug, but he had this smirk, this grin that I just couldn't stand. I hated it.
Wow, that is so
only
weird.
Came out. Yeah.
That's what I was trying. That's what I was trying to depict is, in the book, I was trying to really develop those two personalities.
And that's the only time I never saw that smirk unless he was high.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. And I hated it. I detested it. I just detested. I wrote about it in my books because one of my books talks about that experience. And I brought up that smirk. I just, I wanted to slap it off his face. And I knew right then that's when he was high. He'd go do his thing, all withdrawn, all pissed off at the world. It's everybody's fault but his own. And then he'd come out 15 minutes later with that smirk. And I'm like, few cuss words, So I see the horns on that cover. Very appropriate. Very.
So this is a darker book than I've ever written, but I felt like it was really important to discover this subject about these dissociative personalities. And I can promise you, you will feel satisfied at the end. When you get to the end.
I'm anxious to get to the end.
Yeah.
And then we'll be reading Baby Doe's story afterwards.
Okay, well, that would be great.
I read it first, but I didn't realize they were connected. So I'm not to blame for that one. I do want to pause for a minute because I've totally ignored our readers joining us and just come up and say hello to them. Again, I am talking to award winner Rebecca Rosenberg. I know that many of you know her, but if you have questions for her, go ahead and pop them up into the comment and I'll get to as many as I can. But let's see who is joining us. We have Belinda. She says she had to deal with someone like that too. Tina, she understands. I just want to go through some comments real quick. I hate ignoring our readers. Lori Chasko, she says addiction is awful. And then we have Debbie, addiction is a terrible thing. And then I'm trying to get to the top of my comment here. Dana says she lives in the South, so she can relate to that also. Hold on, I'm trying to.
I'm seeing everybody too on this side. That's fun.
Oh, good. Yeah.
And I met a lot of you on Saturday, which is really fun.
Yes, it was a great party that we had.
Yeah, it was really fun. Thank you for hosting all of us. We got into some of this personality stuff in my post. So
it was a great party. I love Christmas. I love doing that in the group. I just want to see who I love. Elaine Slapp is here. She says she loves the show. And thank you, Elaine, for my coffee cup, by the way. This is my Christmas gift from Elaine. So it's now my favorite cup. Pam says, me too. So
let me answer this question from Lori. She says,
okay,
I
go
never
ahead.
understood why it was called Roaring. But when you read this book, you'll really get it because there's so many different facets going on at the same time. So we talked about the Black immigration up north and and there were a lot of Chinese there too. So they were having like a big cultural thing. In fact, this is terrible. I almost forgot this part. The Ku Klux Klan
Oh, yeah.
was actually marching the streets of Chicago and burning the apartment buildings and everything of the Black people. So it was violent, very violent, and very scary to live there. And she was living right there with that. But there were a lot of positive things about the mixed cultures too, with the jazz. Jazz was really born right there. And so that was exciting. But then you had the Temperance Society, all the women who were marching to stop the speakeasies from serving alcohol. And that was very dangerous too. So actually, Silver Dollar's sister was there marching against alcohol. And here Silver Dollar is performing in a speakeasy. So,
Can
and so,
we talk about her name, Silver Dollar? How
yes.
did she get that name?
How what?
How did she get that name?
Well, her parents named her that, just like Baby Doe Tabor. Where did that come from?
Yeah.
So Baby Doe's name came as a nickname. Her real name is Elizabeth. But the miners, when she came to Central City back in 1878, there were only a handful of women there. And there were all these miners. And so you can imagine that they thought she was like the most beautiful thing they'd ever seen. And they said she has eyes like a baby doe.
Oh.
So, yeah. So she forever since she came west, she was baby doe. And then because the Tabors, and that's in this book, you will find out that the Tabors were the richest people in the country at that point because they had hundreds of silver mines. And Silver Dollar was named by her parents that. Her whole name was Rosemary Echo Silver Dollar Tabor because they were very rich and very, very, very rich. And they had gotten rich by silver. So they named their beautiful daughter that.
And you mentioned the price of silver in each chapter.
Yes. So that's something that I thought was interesting is that during this book, actually, the price of silver is kind of like the metronome or the ticking time bomb of their lives because silver, because they were richer than we can even imagine, like so rich. And yet they lost it all. That's what this book is about. They lost every penny. So it's like the richest people in our country, if they lost every penny, what are they then? And that's where Silver Dollar became traumatized, is because she was a little rich girl with her ponies and her beautiful dresses and being on the cover of Vogue magazine, like drawn on it was Harper's Bazaar magazine. And then when she was 5 or about 6 years old, they lost all their money. And her father died and her sister left and her mother took her to live in a one-room cabin. So that was her big trauma.
I need to read the first book.
Yeah. But this book is a dual timeline. And so you go back and forth between Baby Doe, who's trying to find out what happened to her daughter, through her friend who was like a boyfriend, like Silver Dollar's lover. She's trying to find out with him what really happened to her. And then you're going back and forth between the 20s and then the 30s. And Baby Doe is still trying to mine her silver mine in Leadville. So it's a lot of fun to go back and forth.
Oh yeah, I'm enjoying it. Now, will there be a third book connected to these two?
I don't think so. This ends pretty
Pretty
pretty.
down, right?
It ends. It's a very. I'm prouder of this ending than anything I've ever written, and you'll see why.
Taking another bath tonight, it seems like, so I can read some.
I guess the reason is this is a very, as I said, it's a darker book than I've ever written, and I did not want to leave people in a bad state, readers.
I'm
And
thankful for that. Thank you.
yes, but you know, we all want to read hopeful books. And so like Kay, you guys all know Kay Bratt. She's a great author. And she says on the front of my book, a spellbinding tale of heartbreak and triumph where hope blooms in the darkest of times.
Ooh.
And so that tells you a little bit about the ending.
Intriguing. I do want to pop up a question from Alicia about your books, about your characters. She wants to know, who has been the most difficult character to write about and why?
Oh, well, she is Silver Echoes, who has two personalities. So you're really writing about their struggle together and what happened between them and why she decides the ultimate horrible thing that she can decide. And so it was very difficult, but really exciting. Yeah. Usually, you know, when we're writing a book, it's from one character's viewpoint. Like all my Champagne books are all from one standpoint. But this is from the two of them fighting, struggling, and the mother who's trying to find out what happened to her. So a lot of fun.
And you're currently working on another book related to the Champagne Girls, correct?
Yes, I'll show you. I'm going to show you a sneak preview of the cover. Are you ready?
Yes.
Oh, maybe this would be better. I just had cards made because it's going to be coming out in the spring. And again, sign up for my list and you'll get a chance to be part of it. So this is the cover.
Oh, beautiful.
So this is called License to Thrill, Lily Bollinger. And do you know what she's doing, Tina? Have you ever seen that done?
I can see the champagne bottle popping.
Yes. So she has a saber in her hand.
Okay.
And you take that across the bottle and lop off the top. And so and that's called sabering champagne.
I've never heard of it. I've never done it. Never seen it. So that's
actually
something new.
Yeah. So this is actually Napoleon started that because when he was conquering. This is, who asked me that? Somebody just asked. I saw it flip up. How do I celebrate finishing a book?
Highlighted for the question. It's right here. There it is.
This is how I celebrate.
Do you do that?
Yes, I do that. I have a saber. Well, I'm into champagne, so I definitely have a saber.
There has to be a knack to it. I mean, you have to do it with one swoosh, right?
Yeah. So this is
and a sharp knife.
Yeah, you can do it with a knife actually. So that is Veuve Clicquot, if you've ever seen that label. And this one is Lily Bollinger champagne, the Bollinger label. But if you had, I don't have a knife here. Pretend my phone is my knife.
And you just
take the knife along the bottle, boom, but really fast, boom, and the top just flies off.
How much champagne is left by the time you get to
Well, one time I took my girlfriends to a champagne house for my birthday, and the guy was showing off how to do this, and he broke the bottle in half.
Whoops, that didn't go too well.
So if you take the thing and think you're going to break the bottle, you will break the bottle. But if you just slide it here, then the top comes off.
I mean, I did bartending for a while back in my early days, and I worked New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve, and it was a knack just to pop the cork off.
Yeah.
Because they want a show. They don't just want it to just fall to the ground. They want the champagne to be coming out. And it's a knack.
This is the ultimate way, is to saber the bottle.
Saber. I've
Yeah.
never seen that.
And I do have my own saber.
I love that. I really do. Back to your writing techniques and writing your books, etc. For me, I'm a pantser. I just sit down, I write my books, whatever the characters tell me to say. Now, I assume this, and I might be wrong, but because you do a lot of research, it's historical fiction, it's a certain era, you have to do a lot of plotting. You have to do a lot of planning for your books. So I'm assuming that you have a beginning, a middle, and an end when you write. Does that ever change? Do you ever go off course?
Yeah, this book changed a lot. Like, yeah, because I told you I didn't want to leave everybody in a very dismal state.
Right.
So I had to figure out how that was going to end, but still stay true to the story.
Right, and I know that your characters are based on real people. These are
yes, these are all real stories.
What happened to Silver Dollar in your book actually happened. Most of it, correct?
Well, actually, just to tell you, so if you Google Silver Dollar Tabor, you will find out that she was scalded to death. Scalded to death. So that's what the fact is that's out there. Okay. So I had to live with that she was scalded to death. But then baby Doe Tabor, when all the reporters asked her about her daughter, she said, "That wasn't my daughter. My daughter's in a convent." She wrote me, yeah, my daughter is in a convent, and she wrote me a letter, and she's in a sequestered convent. So I took those facts and did something for the end.
All right. I can't wait to read that part. And the reason why I want to talk about you writing, because these are characters based on real people. My characters talk to me. Karen wants to know, do your characters talk to you while you're writing this book, even though they are real people? Do you get a sense of I'm sure you get a sense of their personalities.
Yeah. Well, you have to talk. Let's see. I don't know if they talk to me. They talk through me. So that sounds.
I like that.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds woohoo, but it is that way. Like I get into that character, especially when you have two battling characters, that in their psyche, you have to understand how they're different, how each of those.
What happened here? Something.
Did we just have a different?
I don't know what happened. Hold on. Keep talking. It's okay. Keep talking.
So whoops, we lost the whole thing. Are you there?
I'm going to get you back. Don't you worry.
Okay. Anyway, so I kind of channel that character for sure. So I just get into that psyche.
Right.
And that's who I'm writing at the moment. And then in this book, since there were 3 different points of view, you're getting in that other person and what do they care about? The big thing, Tina, there you did it. You're a magician.
No, I don't know about that. But go ahead.
Well, you know that when you're writing a book and you're from that character's viewpoint, the most important thing is, what do they want? What do they want? What do they want? No matter what book you're writing, it's about what does that character want and how do they try and go about getting it. And if you stay true to that, then there's a lot that happens with that. And if the more you can be in that character, to me, the more real it is.
It is. I totally agree with you 100%. And for me, I don't write historical fiction. I love reading historical fiction. And I've said this many times with other historical fiction writers. As much as I love reading historical fiction, I could never write it. And it's because the research scares the heck out of me. It really does. And readers will call you out, especially if they know that era that you're writing about. If you're not thorough, and I can tell from your writing, you are extremely thorough, just even the way you talk. You know everything about your books. You know everything about your characters, the era, what clothes they wore back then, what's going on.
No, I do. You've got to know everything. And what are they seeing? What are they seeing in a room? And how is that different than the other character that's in that room? And what are they seeing? And what are the clues that you're giving? I find that all really super fascinating, though.
It is fascinating. Yeah. And for me, because my characters talk to me, I'm not sure if it's the same way, because you said that they speak through you, or however you described it. For me, if I don't hear anything when I sit down to write, I don't write, because it's not me writing if I don't hear my characters. And if I try to force it, it doesn't sound natural. It doesn't sound like it's part of the story.
So Tina, they're kind of telling you.
Yeah, when I sit down to write any of my books, except for the trilogy, because it's based on my life, I knew everything in those books. But the rest of my books, I have no idea how it's going to end. A character will pop up in the middle. I'll be like, who the heck are you? Where'd you come from? I have no clue. She will pop up and then start telling me the story. And I am surprised as much as the reader is. And it's like I'm writing a secret series book right now. I have no idea what the secret is yet.
Wow.
No, someone has.
No, I can tell you that I don't write that way.
Yeah. And for me, and I tried plotting one of my books, and my character in one of the books is actually screaming in my head, "What are you doing? I would never do that. This is not my story." I stopped. It's okay. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
That's so
went in the other direction of where I had no idea. I never saw it coming, and I just let her talk to me. And as crazy as it sounds, that's the only way I can write. And it works.
That's very cool. I like it.
But I would love to plot a book, but I just can't. I tried. It just didn't work out. Maybe down the road I will, but as of now, no. I sit down and I just wait for them to talk.
It sounds like you have a method, and you're going to stick with that method, though. Yeah.
I mean, for me, my next question to you is going to be, what is the hardest part about writing the books? It doesn't matter which book it is. You can pick a book or any of your books. But for me, is getting that first paragraph down. That is the hardest part, because I am waiting for somebody to tell me where I'm going with this. Who wants to start the show here? And I have 2 or 3 characters in my head. Like, okay,
that's so interesting. I'd love to. I'd love to share personalities. That I could be your personality for a while.
when you are sitting down to write, plotting, whatever part of the book, what is the hardest part for you?
Well, let's say my method of starting a book is, I want to know, like, what is the most fun place that I could start this book, and why? Like this book, that I'm doing for spring, I didn't like, her husband died in World War II. I didn't want to start this book in World War II, because it's, I don't really want to write about war, but it ends up being there somehow because it actually happened. So instead of starting it at World War II, where her husband died, I started it in the 1968 in London, when she was presenting a revolutionary new champagne, as she was the only woman who was in the business at all during this time. But here you are in London in 68. That is an exciting place to start a book to me. Mm-hmm. And then what I did, this one's dual timeline too, but the only reason that I do that is I wanted them to know the background of the war, and that she was occupied by the Nazis and all of that. But I also wanted them to know, our readers, you guys, to know that she was very exciting and changed Champagne in a very exciting time, the 60s and the 70s. And the other thing I love about her is she was 68 years old when she came up with a revolutionary kind of champagne. So 68. So here she was, not only the only woman of the time making champagne, but she was gutsy enough to recreate champagne at this point at 68 years old. So I liked that. So that's why I started it there. I want to show you something.
Sure, go ahead.
If I can find it. Oh, shoot. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay. And you asked me about research and how long I study all this stuff.
How long you spend researching?
I actually study, like, I have 2 more books that are in my head now, and I'm already reading books about both of those things. And I have like maps. So I want to know from everyone who's here, do you want to know? I want you to say yes or no. Do you want to know about the 6 women who were pharaohs in Egypt?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so that's why I'm looking at this map right now that I've got here. But would you like that to know about those 6 women that were?
I'll put my hand up.
You want to? See,
Now,
I was so shocked. We went.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Nothing. I said we went to Egypt, and I couldn't believe. Of course, we've all heard of Cleopatra. She was one of them. And then we've heard of Nefertiti. She was another one. But there were 4 others. And one of them started like in 300,000, or no, I'm sorry, 3,000 BC, before Christ. 3,000.
Oh,
3,000 years. So
you're getting a lot of yeses if you look at the comments.
Okay, I can't see them all, but okay, so you don't think it's overdone?
I don't think so. Now, would it be one book with the 6 women? Or
I haven't figured that out. So that's why I'm saying that I'll be reading. I'm thinking about doing that. And then I'm also thinking about doing, what's her name? Sarah Bernhardt. Does anyone know who Sarah Bernhardt is?
Sounds familiar. Enlighten us.
She was like the biggest star in the 1880s. So she would be part of my Gold Digger series, even though she doesn't. She's not related to them. She's that kind of wild. She's a wild woman that traveled through America on her own train car, and she slept in a coffin. She has a lot of exciting.
How do you find these amazing women?
Well, that's what I like to do. And then I have one that is in Italy. She was the circus queen throughout Europe, and she lived her entire life in one of those circus.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, her name is Moira Orphy. So I have these people in my mind, and I start researching until I say, yeah, that's it.
Books for the next 10, 15 years.
Yes, I do. But this is actually what I wanted to show you.
Hello.
This is why I started the book in the 60s, because Bollinger was the champagne of James Bond. And so he was, and she made that happen with her nephew. And so she lived a very exciting life. And that's why I say License to Thrill.
I love that.
Yeah. So that's pretty handsome James Bond there.
Oh, yeah, we know that guy. How long does it take you to write a book? Like, for example, Silver Dollar, Echoes.
Yeah, actually, that took maybe about 8 years.
Yeah. You started this a while back then.
Well, I wrote this entire book completely and didn't like it because it was too sad and too tragic. And so then I put it aside and said, I'm not going to do that. It was during COVID. I said, no one wants to read a book like that, so I'm not going to do it. And so then it just haunted me, though. I wanted to tell her story. Then I figured out how to tell her story. I hadn't really discovered Echo Lavode. And I finally reread the letters and realized that she had this dissociative identity disorder. And I said, that's the key, I think, to making this exciting. Do you like it, Tina, that part of the 2 personalities?
I do.
It makes it more exciting than just a woman who's struggling in Chicago.
No, I agree. And it's almost like 2 stories in one.
It's actually almost 3 stories in one, because you have Baby Doe also. True. So that's where I got excited is, I know how I would do this.
Now, when you wrote, I haven't read Gold Diggers. I'm going to be reading it. But when you wrote Gold Diggers with Baby Doe, her story, and then, of course, you had her daughter, did you know then at the time that you'd be writing a Silver Dollar story, or did that come to you after finishing Gold?
Yeah, that came afterwards when I was doing research on Baby Doe. and I started reading her diaries and seeing how troubled she was about silver dollar, I started having that, that tug that we all do as mothers, that about worrying about our kids. And I said, I want to explore what was happening there, because no one's ever written about silver dollar. No one
did.
Yeah. So I thought, I'm going to tell this story, and I wanted that pain. How many are mothers here? Probably a lot of us.
Most of us.
And there's a lot of, I don't want to say this, but I'm going to. There's a lot of pain in being a mother, like wanting the best for your kids. And that's what I wanted.
And that never gets old. My son's 40, and if he has issues in his life, I want to fix it. I just
we want to fix it.
I don't care how old he is. I want to fix it.
Yeah. How's that working for you, Tina?
But it's something that it's a mother's love. It's totally different from the love for your husband. It's a mother's love, and it's just, we want to make everything just right.
And that's who Baby Doe was to her daughter, and she couldn't fix it.
Yeah, and it hurts when you can't.
It really hurts a lot. And so then, of course, you would tell the press that wasn't my daughter who died of scalding. Like someone threw hot oil over her. So she said, yeah, that wasn't my daughter. She's in a convent, because that's what she wanted to portray.
Wow. Well, I mean, I'm looking at the time here. We have covered a lot. I wish we could talk a little bit more, but if we go over an hour, we're not.
No, that's good. That's good.
But your books are wonderful. But before we sign off, number one, please let the readers know where they can find you, the formats of your books, anything you want to put out there as far as them buying your books.
Well, you see my website there, and I really would love for you to join my newsletter. And then you can buy my books on Amazon. That would be the easiest. You can also go through bookshop.org, which sends it to your local bookstore.
And libraries, right? We have libraries, and they are wide. They can go to any bookstore and
they can order it. What I really find, though, is that the bookstores, that can be difficult.
They won't carry They won't
carry it. They won't carry it, but they will order it. They're nice.
My books, because they can't carry every book in the world.
Right.
I mean, that's just impossible. And then how about audio? Are they available on audio?
Yes. Well, yeah. Silver Echoes is on Audible, and so are the Champagne Widows books.
Okay,
and this one too, I will.
Audio is really, really good. Who did the narrator for your books?
Oh, shoot. I don't remember her name off the top of my head. I'm sorry. I picked different narrators depending on what kind of voice I need. And so
Bambi said they were really good. So that's
good. Thank you, Bambi.
That's good to know.
Thank you guys for being here. It's so much fun to have you. Now we're going to do a giveaway, right?
Yes, we are. So
how are we going to do that, Tina? We're going to give away.
I will pick the winner for you.
Oh, good.
I'm going to talk to you before we sign off after we've done live. And then I will go into my group and I will announce the winner. But I'll also announce it on my author page. And then I will text you, email you the winner and the information.
Thank you.
How's that sound?
Very good. Okay, so we're going to give away one of each of the Silver Echoes and the Gold Digger. And I will tell you a little secret. Gold Digger is 99 cents for another day right now.
Kindle, right?
On ebook. So on Amazon, because it was picked up by BookBub. So you can get that one.
Well, congratulations. BookBub is awesome. Now, that must be worldwide, not just
let's
US,
see.
Right?
That was not worldwide, but through Australia and Canada and US. Yeah.
Perfect. Congratulations.
Okay. Well, you guys are so great to come. Thank you for coming. It's lovely to see all the people here.
And I'm going to be doing by the way, that is 2 winners, 1 winner per book.
Yes.
And it will be signed by Rebecca. I'm doing my giveaway, which is the $5 Amazon gift card. All you need to do is go to my author page and share this video into your favorite groups on your homepage, wherever you want to share it. You can share it even on Instagram. But do tag me so that I know you shared it, and you'll be in the drawing for a $5 Amazon gift card. The more times you share it, the more entries you have. Rebecca, this has always been a wonderful chat. I hope to have you back with the next book, The Champagne Girls. We'll have
Thank
to
you.
get back on.
Thank you, Tina. You have a great group, and I love being here.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And readers, thank you so much for joining us. And I'll announce the winner. And by the way, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah.
New
How about
Year.
that?
Before I
Yeah.
sign off, I do want to let you know that the next chat is not going to be until January the 12th. I'm taking a little break for the holidays. So enjoy your holidays, enjoy your family, enjoy Christmas and Hanukkah. Can't forget Hanukkah. And everyone, have a good night.